Hi everybody. We are going to review IELTS speaking, and in this session we are going to go through the test format of IELTS speaking. The next one is the marking structure, and the last one is external resources for you to help. Let's begin with the test format. Your IELTS speaking test has three parts. The first part is general questions and answers. You would get 10 to 11 questions on very general topic. From your side, what you should do is you should answer as willing to express or willing to speak. You should not limit your answers with the small, short one or two sentences. Try to speak more. If the examiner interrupts you and asks you the next question, it's completely fine. But from your side, what you should do is you should try to speak further more. So the next one is part 2. In your part 2, you get 1 minute planning and 2 minutes of speaking. So you will get a question which has multiple guidelines where you need to plan for a minute and then speak for the 2 minutes. The last one is the follow-up of the part 2, or we also can say it opinion based questions. So here you will get 4 to 5 questions and that lasts up to 4 to 5 minutes, and the question would be probably complicated. From your side, what you should do is you should answer those questions as per the personal experiences that you have lived upon. So you can think of your own ideology or your experiences to answer any kind of questions. Let's review these kind of questions as per the Cambridge book. So here is a extract from a Cambridge book for the IELTS speaking. We can see this is as the part 1. In the part 1, this is like saying about the summer, and here let me read out the question. Is summer your favorite time of the year? Why not? So next one is, what do you do in summer when the weather is really hot? Do you go on holiday every summer? So next question is, did you enjoy the summer holidays when you were at school? So this is a sample from the Cambridge book. This is from the part 1, and you would get 10 to 11 questions. So here's the extract for the summer, and you would of course get 2 more topics, so making the questions little longer. So that's about the part 1. And for the part 2, let me show you this one. So this is a sample question. So describe a luxury item you would like to own in the future. And you should say, so some help would be given and you need to plan for a minute. So this would be handed to you on a paper. And once it's given to you, the timer is tracked for a minute. And once a minute is gone, so you would be asked to speak for 2 minutes. If you try to answer these questions, thinking about the luxury item, and then so trying to answer these questions, you would no longer be able to speak more than a minute, because generally with the experiences of my here in the class for 6 to 7 years, what has been found is people end up saying everything and lack idea. So in order to crack this one, to speak for 2 minutes or more, so just go through the first question. Describe a luxury item you would like to own in the future. So with this one, what you should plan is just read the main question. Based on that, plan for the following. So you have to think about the past, present and future in the main question, positive and negative aspects. The lastly is your personal experiences. So bear in your mind with these ideas to the questions that you get in your part 2. So whatever luxury item you think of, just think with the past, present and future. For example, a luxury item you would like to own. Kind of think of a luxury item, probably it would be a car, and think of that car from the past perspective. From when did you want to have that car? And when you got, you can think lots of things about the past and the present. So now what do you think about that car? And probably in the future, how long will it take to buy that car? Talk about the future. Next thing is about the good thing and the bad thing of course, like owning car or the dream of having the car. So what would it take for you to struggle in your personal lives, or like the good things? You can think about that. So the last one is the personal experiences. What would be the personal experiences of like having a car? Probably you have driven in a car, or you have traveled in a car of someone's, and how do you think the driver driving? So you can go with that. So if you bear these points, past, present, future. Next is good thing and bad thing about the topic. And the last one is the personal experiences. You can end up your conversation not only 2 minutes but more. Now let's see the part 3 sample questions. So as per Cambridge book, if you do buy Cambridge book, what happens is you get like a little more questions, but in your exam you get only 4 to 5 questions. So we do have this topic as expensive items. So example questions, I'm going to read them out for you. Which expensive items would many young people in your country like to buy? So next, how do the expensive items that younger people want to buy differ from those that older people want to buy? Do you think that the people are more likely to buy expensive items for their friends or for themselves? So these are the sample questions, and these are more opinion based. The answer for this question would be different from different people. Okay, so this is all about the speaking sessions, and how do you practice this one is you can go through this website. So the website is yourujwalpath.com/il/speaking. This brings you to this kind of link, and it currently it has 3 of the mock test. You can click on the first one or the second one. So clicking on one of the mock test, you can click on submit button, and what you will get is this questions. These are for the part 1. You can click it, the question should be asked for you, and you can answer them for the practicing. So after you complete this one, you can go to part 2. In part 2 you can click this. When you click this, the part 2 question would pop up. So let me click that. So there is the question for the part 2, and you can prepare this for a minute. Once the time has been a minute by itself within the system, it will say you to start speaking. And when you start speaking, if it's 2 minutes, the time is also tracked. After 2 minutes, the system will say the time has been finished. So it's a great tool for you to practice. So next is about the part 3. So in the part 3, again, you can click that and hear the questions and answers. This website would get updated, but the basic principle is this: to make it more easier and to even add more tests, it will be more changed in the upcoming futures. But for now, even these are most better. Keep practicing. So we've covered the test format. Now we are moving to marking structure of the IELTS. IELTS speaking band descriptors. If you search this item on Google, you can find links. I'm going with the first one. Your speaking test will be assessed in terms of 4 criteria. The first one is fluency and coherence. The next one is lexical resources. The third one is grammatical range and accuracy. The last one being pronunciation. So let's look at what does the fluency and coherence mean. Fluency means speaking with a kind of fluent. You do not pause in unnatural instances. You should pause in when you are speaking kind of comma and or the full stop. Coherence means the sequencing of information that you give. So whenever you are speaking, your information should be in sequential order so that it would be easier for the listener to comprehend or understand what the speaker is telling. Coherence is particularly more judged in terms of part 2. So in your part 2, let's look at the questions for the part 2. For example, in luxury item, a car, and you're entering to the past kind of things. When I was in class 6, I first rode into a car. At that time, the car belonged to my uncle, so it was so pleasant to travel in the car. And later on, I still have that dream, but I don't know when would I buy a car. I'm going with the present. And again, if you say that uncle used to tell me to work hard, do a business so that you can earn money. So this is not the sequential. So first I started my speaking with the car, my first experiences of like riding on it, and next So I told about the present context, and I'm again going towards the previous thing. So whenever you plan for this one, the past, present, future, or positive or negative experiences along with your personal experiences, finish one point, everything, and move with the next point. That brings you to the coherent answers. You would get more marks on that. The second marking order is lexical resources. That means the vocabulary, the word power. To get 6.5, what you should do is, if you can speak in a very fluent manner, you qualify for the lexical resources. So if you do not need to think for the word, so you can apply wherever, whatever you need. So whatever questions being asked, you don't need to think for the words to answer. You do get more marks in the lexical resources. And there are also other criteria for higher bands, which we will look at in a short. So the third one is grammatical range and accuracy. The way you answer, there has to be variations in the sentence structures, means the range, and also they should be accurate. Remember to correct your subject verb agreement mostly. And the next thing is about varying the structures. For example, you can go with the passive voice in your normal conversations, or even you can add conditional sentence. So also you can use different varieties of sentence structure. Also you can use noun phrases or different structures of the sentences in speaking. That would add sometimes complex sentences using however, although. So different structures of the grammar would be assessed, that what kinds of sentence structures can you speak, and are they correct or not. You can more think of the grammatical range for your part 2, because you get a minute and you can think of what kinds of variations you would give up. So what kinds of variations you can give up. So the last one is pronunciation. For the pronunciation, you need to speak very slowly. So more slowly you speak, more better marks you could get. Slowly means you enjoy every words that you speak, and also you can organize or kind of combine the sound sentences. So whenever whatever you are saying, so grouping some kind of words would help you to get the more marks in the pronunciation. Now let's look at the marking criteria for the band 6. So we have fluency and coherence. So in terms of fluency and coherence, let's look at the criteria. Able to keep going and demonstrates a willingness to produce long terms. It means so you have willingness to speak, so you can speak more and more. So next one is coherence may be lost at times as a result of hesitations and repetitions or self-corrections. So sequencing could be hampered, but if you make it better, you qualify for more than 6. So uses a range of spoken discourse markers, connectives, and cohesive features, though not always appropriately. This is the main thing that you need to work out. Whenever answering, your answer must contain discourse markers and connectives, first of all. Here we are going to talk about the discourse markers. Discourse markers means the sequencing of informations, kind of firstly, secondly, or thirdly, or like you gotta start with on the one hand the thing about something causing whatever you gotta discuss, and on the other hand, so this kind of overall sequencing of information would be called as the discourse markers. Whereas connectives means kind of connecting two or three sentences in your normal way. You can say because, maybe however, or this is the reason. So this kind of connections are called the connectives. So next that you can see over here is cohesive features. Cohesive means how you link your different speaking structures. Whenever you are saying speaking for the full length, of course, like you need to link your ideas. So this is why. Furthermore, same like moreover. So this brings down to me. These would be the examples for you to go through the cohesive features. Now let's move towards the lexical resources. So look at here, resource sufficient to discuss topic at length. So if you can speak with the fluent manner, of course you qualify for this one. So you do not need to think for the words. Next thing is vocabulary use may be inappropriate, but meaning is clear. So the word that you should also be accurate, and even if sometimes it's not accurate, it's fine. So the last one is generally able to paraphrase successfully. This is the great key to crack 6. So what does the paraphrase mean? Let's get to this one. See this. It's summer your favorite time of the year. So in the answer, you would say yes, it is, or yes, the summer is my favorite time of the year. Not like that. So it's not paraphrasing. Um, the most enjoyable weather is summer. I always enjoy to spend time in summer. So if you can change like this, you would qualify for the paraphrase. Do not use the word as much as possible asked by the examiner. For example, what do you do in summer when the weather is very hot? And in your response, not like when the weather is very hot, I eat ice cream. So when the temperature goes up and I can't stay quiet or the calm. At that time, I go swimming, I do have ice cream. So these would be the better answers to respond. So paraphrase means that. So next, grammatical range and accuracy. So here, look at produces a mix of short and complex sentences formed and a variety of structures with limited flexibility. So this means you need to have kind of like simple sentences as well as the complex sentences. Complex sentences means you add 2 or 3 sentences in your own one sentences. So implying however or the noun phrases or kind of different kind of phrases combining your sentences with probably if clauses, so they would make you the complex sentences. And yeah, of course the variety of structures. Flexibility means with any kind of instances you can easily use those kind of structures. And though error frequently occur in complex structures, they rarely impede communication. Even some mistakes are there. It does not harm the communication. So that's about the grammatical range and accuracy. Now let's move towards the pronunciation. Use the range of phonological features. So phonological features means in English there are different variations of the sounds for the vowels and consonants. For detail of this, you can search on Google and find lots of resources. But in general, so the pronunciation of many words do contain differentiation in the vowels and consonant. To master them would be better to watch more English series and mimic them. So more you mimic, more pronunciations would be corrected. Next is chunking is generally appropriate, but rhythm may be affected by a lack of time and a rapid speech rate. So you need to group the sentence word. Chunking means more sentences that you want to speak. If you can group them, then you would get more marks. That means if you have ability to combine the words whenever you are speaking. The next one is some effective use of intonation and the stress. So intonation and the stress means whenever you are speaking for the some kind of words you need to stress or make it a high, increase the volume of the certain words to imply the something that you mean. The next one is so individual words or the phonemes may be mispronounced, but this cause only occasional lack of clarity. Even there is some kind of problem with the vowel or the consonant sounds, so there is no problem for the communication. The last one is can generally be understood throughout without much effort. So whatever you speak should be understandable. So here is a key point. In order to crack this one, the way Nepalese people speak would never be understood by foreigner. So the way Nepalese people speak English would barely understood by foreigners because there are lots of phonological errors and lots of mistakes. And in order to master them, what you should do is speak slowly. Okay, so enjoy every words whatever you are speaking. Now let's look at the band 7. So in band 7, is able to keep going and readily produce long trunks without noticeable effort. It means you can speak for the long things. Some hesitations, repetition, or the self-correction may occur often mid-sentences and they indicate problems with accessing appropriate language. So this means even some error would be okay. So however, these will not affect the coherence. Even sequencing will not be impacted. So you should also care about the sequencing in order to crack for the 7. So something for the vocabulary. uh, everything is same, but one thing that's had been added is for the 7 criteria, some ability to use less common and idiomatic items. This means, so you should use C1 vocabularies. You can search on Google and download C1 vocabularies. There are 570 words. And idiomatic vocabulary, if you can use idioms in your speaking, then you get more marks. The grammatical structures, a range of structures flexibly used, error-free sentences are frequent, means your sentence should be almost correct. Both simple and complex sentences are used effectively despite some errors. A few basic error persist. Even simple error or the minor error would be considered for the band 7. And for the pronunciations, you need to have band 6 as well as the band 8 some features, so it would be the hybrid of that. So all of these band 6 means your phonological, so you should care about the vowel and consonant sound with the stresses and speaking with enjoying every word that you speak. And for the band 8, so let's go from the bottom. So accent has a minimal effect on intelligibility. Means you should not have like American accent or the British accent, but if the examiner are foreigner and however they speak, you should not be having problem to understand them. So that means this one. And the rest of the part like uses a wide range of phonological features to convey precise and the subtle meaning. So of course you need to work on the vowel. So for the delicate, for the small minor kind of thing, you should have the variations of your pronunciations, and can sustain appropriate rhythm. So rhythm means like again the grouping of the sentences whenever you are speaking, and flexible use of the stress and intonation across the utterance and despite occasional lapses. So you should be very clear. Enjoy every word that you speak for this one. Can be easily understood throughout, of course. So for the pronunciation to master is enjoy every word that you speak. Next thing is learn some words pronunciations, and the way that you would learn is you can search for these phonological features and learn vowel and consonant sound, number one thing. Next thing is watch English series and mimic them, so they will help you to identify lots of words which you have been speaking in a wrong way. So that's being the marking structure of the band 7. So now we are moving towards the external resources. So for speaking, what you can do is you can go to the YouTube and search for mock test videos. The better one would be IELTS Daily. IELTS Daily speaking mock test. If you go through this one, you get lots of videos. So go for 30 minutes kind of videos, watch them, and whenever a question is being asked, just pause it and answer by yourself, and then hear what the candidate would respond. So that is the best way to engage, so for you to practice your speaking. The next website apart from IELTS Daily would be IELTS Advantage. So here also you can get mock test, and these mock test you can play it and pause before the candidate would answer. You answer from your side and play what the candidate would respond. That's the best way. Something for the idiomatic vocabularies, I would also advise to move with the esl-lab.com, and with this link, so go to the esl-lab.com. Here go to the intermediate, you can close this, and here are lots of things. You can choose any topic, for example healthy lifestyle, try to speak for 2 minutes and go inside it. Here, so you get some idioms. Feel like $1,000,000, pay it safe. So even the meaning are given along with the sentences. So this is the best way to access idioms, and you can play this, also answer this kind of questions. It will make your listening skills also better. It's a better way to learn idioms also. So this is another resources. So this is it. We have completed our sessions for the speaking test, and you can practice them. Once you know the structure, keep practicing more. The more you speak, more you can be better saying this. So keep practicing. Best of luck. And once you feel that you are comfortable to give the mock test, you can come to us for the mock test. See you. Have a great day.